Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I hope you guys are good. Wherever it is that you are, we are definitely going a little bit early today because I will be on live at 5:30 Eastern Time with the Roots and Routes podcast. So, did want to stay true to the cause. We are on day 2 of our 12 days of relocation. And we are going to get right into it because it is going to be a busy afternoon and evening. One, for me, and two, if you happen to be watching this, sharing with somebody else that is looking to move abroad, there's a lot of information that we're going to be able to give you guys today and letting you know that you are not the only one that is possibly having these thoughts. The thoughts of moving abroad, what that actually looks like for people that are considering it, and some realities on where you are. Because a lot of people, I think, considering living in America, there's a lot of misconceptions about where you are as far as globally on the planet versus what happens outside of America. And I think it's time to put a lot of things to bed. Reason why is because I get a lot of messages, comments I see, both to me as well as general comments, people looking for information, understanding of what life abroad looks like. And these 12 days of relocation are all leading up. They're leading up to a culminating event that gives you the opportunity to get directly connected to vetted experts. These experts are designed to give you what you need to put into your relocation toolkit when it comes to that empty book bag of stuff, tools, research, resources, those things that you need to be able to draw on should you have a question, a concern, or look to how to navigate through moving abroad. It is a journey. It is not some one step or one stop solution. So today's conversation is another, I would say, layer in the onion of peeling back what the move abroad will look like for you. And also giving you guys understanding that these resources, these conversations, they're designed to help further build you up, give you a further foundation on this relocation journey. This month, it pretty much gives you guys your money back. We've priced this and positioned this in a way where you can come and spend a bag of groceries or less and essentially get all of the resources that you need so you don't have to go stumbling out of the blocks that it is America when you're looking at what do I do? What is the first thing I do when wrapping my head around moving abroad? If you haven't already, make sure you are sharing this with somebody that is needing to hear this conversation because moving abroad is going to take all of us. It's going to take the village of the expat community and people that are living abroad to reach back and help you guys in a way where it actually can make sense for you. So let's just get into it because one of the biggest things is, safety. Safety is a thing. We get into cost, but safety is a thing. And I want to get into that tonight because safety is important. You would forget that you are often in times in the United States not safe. Number of different things to trap you up depending on what demographic you fall in. Are you a woman? Are you a black person or a minority? Are you a part of the LGBT community? There are so many different things just from a you being alive scenario that America provides as potentially unsafe. Never mind the actual violence of some of the stuff that's going on there, some of the things that have become normalized that at one point used to say, no, we're not going to do this again. This isn't going to happen. Yet so many people have gotten to the point where, what no longer was going to happen now is a seemingly everyday occurrence. So when we talk about safety, let's get to understanding where you are right now in the United States. Is it safe? Did you just get used to it? Because I can understand saying, hey, America is not that safe and safety is going to be relative, but what does danger look like? I haven't had anyone that's looking to move abroad ask me that question. What does danger look like there? They'll always ask, well, is it safe? And, the running joke in American people that are living abroad from America, they're like, is America safe? And I think a better question is, what does danger look like in this destination? Because danger is present anywhere on the world. I mean, you could be by yourself in the middle of a jungle and danger show up because it's an animal. Like, you could be in a position of danger all of the time. For my clumsy folk, how many times has no one been around and somehow you almost messed up a little bit? danger is always present, but knowing what it is that in America, you have now either learned how to navigate danger or willfully ignore danger. Well, I can't do anything about it, so I just, this is my life. And yes, it could be me, but what am I going to do? And I get that. But when understanding what safety looks like abroad, you need to understand that you are going to need to protect yourself anywhere you go. Thinking that you are in a protection bubble in America would be unrealistic. I mean, look at the news, look at outside. Don't have to turn on the news, just go outside. Does it seem safe? Maybe you live in a bubble where it feels safe, but many Americans live in places where it's like, this doesn't really feel that safe for a number of different reasons. Never mind the physical safety, there's a financial safety that is at play here. Because when you talk about safe, a lot of people are asking, the cost of living. See how safety and cost of living is blending in? Because so many people are only looking at the face value of safety and thinking, my body, physically, am I going to be safe? And the reflective question is, are you physically, your body, safe in the United States with what is normalized? You sit with it, you might say, maybe not so. But does that happen there? And it's like, no. Many times the normalized, unsafe things that America has given us aren't really these global spread problems. You'd be surprised what is in America and doesn't have a Monday through Sunday work agenda like it does only in America. Yet you guys are considering looking abroad to different places all around the world. And yes, I would say there are countries that are even more safer than others. But the nuances of outside of safety and cost of living, other things, is where it's like, you see how layered this conversation is? You see why it wasn't just a couple of days we could do this, leading you into the relocation conference? No, you needed 12 days because it's at least 12 different conversations that you guys need to have in preparation for the information that you're going to receive on the conference. We talk about this process because it's not just, okay, I'm packing up and here's where I'm going and I'm leaving. So many of us get on this particular platform and talk about the mindset shift that you need to have in preparation to leave. What can I do before I actually go? Well, first things, you can declutter your mind and get an understanding that, hey, where you deem as safe, which is where you are, is causing you to look abroad. So that should be a pause for the cause for you just to understand, well, I'm worried about safety in the United States. I mean, outside of the United States or asking this, but am I safe here? Better question would be, what does danger look like? I haven't had anybody ask me that, but I think that's the one thing that you guys need to start wrapping your head around. What does danger look like? Oh, well, in the United States, I can wear chains and bracelets and Rolexes, and the likelihood of me getting robbed is lower. It's still present. I went to school in Atlanta. I'm from Philadelphia, all up and down the East Coast. Let me tell you, you can get got in any city in America, even the ones you might not think. Yes, it all happens where you are, but does the presence of it look different where you are? You may be from a place where you're able to navigate what danger looks like where you're from. The better question for you to ask people that are actually living abroad that may be able to have an understanding of what you might have seen and what you may experience down here is, how do you navigate what safety or danger looks like down there? Then you get into a more nuanced question of, safe is it safe? I tell people many a time, and this is only, I can only speak on my experience and where I've lived. There are a number of single black women that are in Colombia that are from America. I say that is because I wouldn't say that that is a blanket statement to the testifying of the complete safety of Colombia, Medellin, or any of this sort. Anything can happen anywhere to anyone. However, I just find it peculiar because I know my community and I know that black people aren't going to go anywhere where they don't deem it safe. And then by themselves, traveling as a solo woman is definitely a particular level of awareness that you need to have. And a lot of people are starting to come to, particularly Medellin, that are black women that are coming by themselves. So when you look at a place and consider the safety, and reaching out to people or taking advantage of conversations like this, the nuances of more so how to navigate danger. I tell you guys all the time, navigating danger, some of the things that you're saying, well, I can't wear my designer and I can't wear my luxury clothes and my jewelry all of the time. Well, that's a mindset thing, and I tell you why. Because when you talk about designer clothes, and you talk about, and I don't mean it's looking nice and presentable. I mean designer clothes. It says a designer on it right here. Anybody can see this says these are Louis Vuitton pants. I have on Dior shoes, and I've got a $5,000 Rolex on, and my chain. That's a bust down Cuban. These things have been positioned to be coveted in the United States. And I'm not saying that people abroad and around the world don't have them, because they do. However, Americans have put their value into stuff and things. So when we are wearing what I say our bank accounts on our bodies, and considering that I can't wear a $5,000 watch in a place where the average monthly salary is $400, I wouldn't. I don't think it's wise, and honestly, no one cares. Maybe that gets you into rooms, into things in the United States, and that's fine. But I've seen more people without all of the bells and whistles of the stuff and things in the status watch, in the car that they think that they need, get into places and have meaningful relationships, business partnerships, just relationships in general, versus somebody thought you were cool because of what you had on. So it's breaking out of the mindset of, I can't wear my jewelry there. What is it about your jewelry that you want to take around the world so people can know you that you have this jewelry? It's the mindset of, let me show you what it is that I have versus let me be who it is that I am. So when we talk about, is it safe to wear flashy jewelry in a number of these places that you are looking to go to, the top expat destinations, Colombia, Mexico, Panama, Brazil? No. But it's not just because you're going to get robbed. It's you getting an understanding that you had been robbed, robbed of your dignity and thought process, that was who you are. The stuff and the things was giving you value. So when we talk about how to navigate danger moving abroad, it's don't wear the stuff and things that you thought that gave you value that still led you out of the United States. Don't wear that because it has given you no value, and the only value it will bring you overseas is somebody that you don't want to meet. Things in danger happen anywhere. So when we talk about navigating danger and everything else, I always talk about the United States, and I look back, and obviously I'm born there, raised there. I didn't leave until I was an adult. And I look back and I'm like, man, I paid a premium to get a terrible quality experience. You guys ever did that? You ever went to a nice restaurant, heard the reviews, thought it was amazing, and like, I'm gonna go, and you get there and you spend a pretty penny, and all the food that comes out is terrible. Would you go back? You would say, no, why would I ever go back? Yet this is the cycle of what you're doing. Is it a Groundhog's Day scenario? Because you are getting terrible quality food, you're getting terrible service in the United States, yet you keep going back, paying an additional rate just to eat there, all to have a bad time. And you complaining, or are you saying, I hate everything they keep feeding me, and you're doing nothing about it? So that for me is not safe. I only have a little bit of time. I'm 38 years old. I don't know how long I have. Hopefully, I'll be an old man and die in the bed, but none of us have that understanding of where and when you're going. So, with understanding that you don't have a lot of time to play with America, you don't have a lot of time to play with yourself and getting to at least enjoy the little bit of life that we have here, you need to realize that the cost of America is not worth anybody's value. It's just a name. Imagine playing complete. You got designer shoes on and they falling apart. That's what being in America feels like once you actually realize what you're dealing with. Because cost of living, you're getting raised and charged based off of being in America. The cost of housing, so many people right now, it is election day in America, and people are all at the same time needing to go vote, at the same time needing to go sign up for a food bank. People are actually getting paid a full-time wage and not having enough money to actually eat. Billions of companies are making billions of dollars off of workers' backs, your back, and you are running into a scenario where you're at a food bank but you work 40 hours a week and all they're telling you to do is go get another job. Well, that 40 is turned into 80. There's so many people with two jobs, and now those two needed to become three. I was saying this the other day. I said, okay, they said that they're going to give people 50% of what their welfare benefits was. And I said, how do you take half of somebody that already didn't have it? So whatever it was that was probably just getting them enough, you're going to give them half of that. So many of you guys are in an unsafe environment and want to continuously be in my inbox about my safety. I need you guys to wake up and understand that yes, there is safety things and danger that you're going to need to navigate no matter where you are. But understanding that you aren't safe and understanding that you'd be surprised what you are 1,000% in the bed with. You are 1,000% in the bed with America when you are there. You just are in it. It's a big boat. It's a bathtub, and y'all sharing the same bath water. Nasty. But seriously, you guys are sitting there in America and you can't do nothing. They want to move the boat. You in the boat with them going the one way. You don't understand that when you do get abroad, the one of the privileges that you do have is the ability to not have to stay anywhere that no longer suits you. Once you have actually unplugged from America, you'd be surprised. You're like, oh, you know what, this is not working. Let me go over here and see what this is like. And understanding that you are going to be a part of a new community, so you need to go do some research. You need to learn what that community has to offer and what you can offer that community: language, culture, environment, because this thing is really important. People are asking about this safety and the cost of living, and it's like, what does me giving you the answer to that if you don't understand the other side of where you are? Affordable health care. I went to the doctor when I was in the United States the other day, and people are asking me, are the doctors good in Colombia? I'm sorry, are you paying attention to anything? Never mind, just seeing people leave to go for medical tourism. What about when the pandemic happened and they called the best doctors in the world? And you know where those best doctors in the world were coming from? Places that America told you was off the radar, was on the travel list, and was third world countries. Cuba have sent so many people all around the world to help these people that couldn't figure it out get it figured out. So you're asking people, is the healthcare good in abroad when the healthcare isn't good in the United States? Do you see what I'm trying to get at here for you guys to understand that these things are often better served to you? The things that you are asking about, is it safe? It's often better served outside of the United States. Is healthcare, what is healthcare like? It's often better served outside of the United States. It's the fear of what the unknown is that's keeping you asking questions where if you wrap your head around it, you may start to understand or start to be a little bit more intentful with the research and say, something must be going on here. And I get it. They're not breeding us in the United States. They're not. The American education system is such a terrible box to try to get something good out of. If you have made it, good for you. But the numbers are not in your favor. Oh my gosh, I can't raise my child abroad. What about the education? 52% of Americans that are adults can't read past Harry Potter. That's the sixth grade reading level. What are you guys talking about here? 90 percentiles in some of these places that have been deemed and earmarked third world countries by the United States. Is it safe to be there? We already know the cost of living is bumming your pockets out, but is it safe to still stay in the United States? That's the question that only you can answer. Because a lot of people are at that wherewithal, not that wherewithal, that crossroads now and saying, what do I do? Kind of moving abroad lead me to have a better quality of life? That is what we are telling you from the other side. That is what we are telling you, because what your quality of life should look like, that's on you. But anybody that knows that if you don't have the space to even think like that, to operate that way. Have you ever been in a scenario where you felt like you caught up on all your bills and, like, I got a couple dollars, never mind spending money, just like, man, it just feels good not to have to feel like it's just this close. Imagine if that was your life, like all of it, and not just one time out the blue. So many people are realizing that America, that premium that they're charging is actually starting to wear into, is my life ever going to be different than just buying a new shirt on the holidays or buying new clothes when I get paid and treating myself to one dinner and that's what my life is? So you guys have to look at, the cost of living abroad. Some of these places that you guys are looking at, Colombia, 4,000 to 1. So 1,000 Colombian pesos to a dollar. You go to places, we were talking to Maurice Foley. He's our Cape Town, South Africa relocation expert. He said in South Africa, it's 17 Rand to 1. In Mexico, it's about 18 to 20 to 1. Even in a place like Panama, where it is 1 to 1 and they actually use US dollars around there, what you will find is you can't get a $1,400-$1,300 apartment with an ocean view in the United States and in the city. That just doesn't exist. So even with that, even a 1 to 1 ratio, they're not charging you as much for just life. And I know a lot of people are trying to wrap their heads around that. Like, what is he talking about? But it's just like, you don't understand. Your poor on the world scale isn't poor. I tell you guys, the weapons that you need, the weapons that you have, the US dollar. I see so many people considering cost of living, considering needing to make money abroad. Shout out to Bianca because I think I saw her in here, but she literally helps people learn how to make money by affiliate marketing, digital marketing, what that looks like. You'd be surprised what money you aren't making off of what you are already doing. But so many people are starting to say, can I move abroad? What jobs do I need to take? Or what jobs do I need to look for? You have the mindset becoming, because you're coming from America, that you need that $80,000, $100,000 a year job just to have at least the life that you had in the United States, right? Well, let so many people that have actually made the move tell you, where if you're you're the person that is spending that $10,000, the $5,000 a month, you can move to strategic certain places, Colombia, Mexico, and certain places. Mind you, I'm talking countries. I'm not talking Colombia and saying Medellin only. Colombia is a country. Mexico is a country. These are all countries. South Africa is a country. And all within those, there are different cities and pockets and neighborhoods that you could find yourself in for a value and rate that would actually be beneficial to you. Now, what happens after that, that's a whole different concept and conversation. But at least from what you are paying in the United States, a person that is making $30,000 in the United States isn't a person that is even considered middle class, I think, at this point. That's how expensive things got. Whereas on a global scale, a person making 30,000 US dollars is a different position than what it is America affords you. There is no benefit to the US dollar outside of being able to make it. The moment that you're able to make it and make it a digital scenario, it's online. You don't need to show up. You either need to log in or you need to sell your product or your service or whatever it is that you would do. You do need to realize that the value of that US dollar goes a lot further. And if it's anything that you can say, hey, America has never gave me anything. Like, well, they gave you something. The thing about the something that they gave you is you can't use it at home. It doesn't work that way. It's everything costs so much in Candyland. Yet you get abroad and you're like, well, damn, I can go and pay $40 for two people to sit down at a nice restaurant and be served white cloth dinner, and $40 won't get me McDonald's for two people in some spots. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And that's where a lot of people are waking up and realizing that the cost of living is coming, but they're hearing that the cost of living may not be in that scenario. But the safety thing is one of the biggest important things, because right now we are at one of the most interesting times to be a person that is living abroad. And even with relevance to being close proximity to the United States, I told people earlier in this year, it was weird. Trump came into office and it was like he started going after all of the top places that most people leaving America have on their radar: Colombia, Mexico, Panama. And I'm like, damn, like, what's up with that? And it's like people are in my inbox. Mexico's coming with this, and the United States is going to do this. I will tell you that we mentioned about you being in the bathtub with America right now, and that's true. Now, the one thing that happens when you move abroad, and how do you navigate safety? Well, when you move abroad, yes, you might have a visa, you might have even a temporary residency, but oftentimes you have a different shield than a citizen. And That is a privilege. I need you to understand that. That is a privilege. But when we talk about politics and different things, I know that's a question that burns in people's heads, especially with Trump going, Mexico this and Colombia guys this and I get it. But you don't realize that you are in a privileged seat. It doesn't feel like privilege living there. But when you do leave, you do run into a scenario where it's like, okay, if things don't go the way that I envision them, your ability to move is a lot more fluid at that point than it is what you think coming from America. Now, you are often having to realize that, yes, I tell people about from the community aspect, being understanding that just because you have the privilege of being able to navigate that not impacting you doesn't mean it doesn't impact the community that you are saying that you want to be a part of. That conversation needs to be nuanced down more to your understanding and your mindset, and realizing that just because it doesn't impact me doesn't mean that it's not impactful. So many people in America are going through that right now where they're saying, well, I'm an American citizen, so immigration and this stuff isn't impacting me. Yet you are seeing people on your street that shouldn't be there in your neighborhood and community doing things to your neighbor. Some people are turning a blind eye. And that works until it's your house that people are at and they're saying, where's the sympathy and empathy that I need? So I tell you not to, just because you may be putting yourself in a position to move abroad, I tell you to be leery about just understanding that you do run into, yes, you don't have the privilege to be as impacted by political scenarios. If I was in Mexico and somebody said, oh, well, they have the military coming down Playa del Carmen, Fifth Avenue, and it's like, well, like, I can leave. You can leave. You have the ability to maneuver around the world, and once you unplug from America, you realize that you have a lot more ability. I was talking to one of my Spama sisters the other day, and she was like, "Well, you say you gonna go back to so and so," and I'm like, it's gonna be difficult, right? I'm like, no, like, I mean, I've already done it. I moved out the country. I moved to another country. I moved back to a country I'm familiar with. It's Once you do it, it's like riding a bike. You know what to look for. You know what to do. So when it comes to political tensions and political uprisings, always keep your eyes and your ears and your scanners open so you can stay aware of those things. But you need to consider that it may not impact you as it would if you were back at home and it was going on at home. Now, you can still be helpful. As I mentioned, being a part of a community means that just because it doesn't impact you doesn't mean that you don't care. It's just not much that you can do. Like I said, today is election day. A lot of people are going to vote today. You don't have the ability to vote in local elections when you are a foreigner, despite what some people may think. This happens all over the world. So these things aren't something that you can impact, but you have to realize that I don't think it should weigh into your is it safe until it's not safe. Now, some people will say, nah, that's never going to happen. I would never tell you that. I'm not in the government, of anybody's government. I don't know what is going to happen. I always tell you guys about having a plan B. Understanding that, okay, most of the time, not everywhere is going to go bad once. So having, destinations, you might have 10 destinations that get narrowed down to 5, get narrowed down to 3. Cool. Make sure you go visit those 3 destinations. Getting narrowed down from 10 to 5 to 3 is pretty impactful. There had to be some thought process and reasoning why. And when you get into a scenario and you might say, Colombia, Mexico, Panama. Cool. Colombia, Mexico, Panama. Get some understanding of what neighborhood in Colombia, what city in Colombia, where do you want to go? That way, should something come up in one of these countries, you aren't stuck. The only person that can stick you is you. You are going to be stuck if you run into a scenario like that. So this navigating safety thing, I think is one of the biggest things that concern people with moving abroad. I think once again, the best question to ask is not, is it safe? Because where you are isn't safe. It's what does danger look like and how do I navigate that? Because if somebody asks me that question, and when you reference to Medellin and Colombia, it's like, cool, Rolexes, no. Bright, gaudy jewelry, no. Designer clothes that have a bunch of names on. Nobody cares. Wear basic, regular clothing. Like, nobody cares how much money you have in your pocket except for the people that want to take it out of your pocket. That's my thought process. Other safety things that I tell people, Just in general, getting your phone back after you leave it is really difficult. It's 13, you'd be surprised. It's a $1,300 phone. In the United States, I'm probably like, here you go your phone. Abroad, it's $1,400. Some people have a $2,000 phone. So that can be used as currency. I say treat your phone like your arm. Don't leave it in a cab place. Don't leave it. Those things, how to navigate danger. When you are in a new city, it's oftentimes people are in a taxi or a cab and they're like, oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful. Well, you have your phone in a city that has nothing but motos, people driving past. So if somebody snatches your phone, the driver's going to look at you like, I actually can't do anything. The person on the moto is already down the street. That's how you navigate danger in some of these places. And it's not like, oh my gosh, something bad going to happen to me. It's just, how do you navigate danger? That is where you need to have your concern, because it is dangerous everywhere. Some of you guys are also putting yourself into danger that you don't do in the United States. Oh, yeah, I'm talking to you. And I don't need to name you, but you know who you are. I am talking to you. So many people are in scenarios where they're like, I heard people are getting drugged over there, and you can insert anywhere. People are getting drugged over there. Things are bad are happening. Should I be concerned? I mean, yeah, you should be concerned depending on what kind of lifestyle you live, to be honest with you. You think you're going to do risky behavior in the United States and it's not going to come and bite you right back in the butt? Seriously. You're going to let a stranger come to your house that you just met off of the street in the United States and roll the dice there? I mean, Russian roulette is a game that I wouldn't play, but if you want to do it, and then you have to come put into consideration that that is what a lot of these negative stories are about: dangerous things happening, people putting themselves in bad situations, but people forgetting. I hear people like will block out 40 seconds of something and then hear, I got robbed in Colombia. And you're like, he got robbed in Colombia. People get robbed in Germantown, Philadelphia every day. Like, it happens. What were they doing? Sometimes it's not your fault. But a lot of times, a lot of these stories you hear of people and foreigners, something happening to them, a number of them. There are oftentimes, they're not oftentimes, but there are obviously times where somebody didn't do anything and something bad happened, like anywhere. But a lot of the stories that are coming out are people putting themselves in bad situations. I asked them, why would you? Did you forget you? This is not normal. Would you go invite somebody to your house? Would you go drinking with somebody or invite someone over to drink at your house that you don't know? Do you do this normally? No. Well, why would you do it here and think it was going to lead you to positive results? That's why I tell people, caution what information you are consuming and from who on these resources based pages, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. Caution, please, because they will lead you on the other side of something happened to me in insert said place, because they're not willing to tell you, like, keep the same scanners up that you do and have in the United States. Don't say throw all inhibition out because it feels like freedom. It's not. It's an opportunity to be free. It's an opportunity to understand that people are living freely and doing things that may feel like freedom to you. But you need to understand that the safety thing, so much of it comes down to not you being in a dangerous neighborhood or a dangerous city. It's more so about the dangerous things that you're willing to forget that you actually know how to do in the United States. That is one of the biggest lessons that some of these people moving abroad or traveling are learning. A lot of you guys are asking about one from the cost of living and how much money you actually need. And I will tell you that one, location is definitely going to weigh into that cost factor. And that doesn't just mean like, oh, if I go to Colombia versus everything in Colombia is going to be cheaper than it is in Mexico. That may not be the case. Cartagena is a popular city in Colombia, yet so many people don't realize it's also one of the most expensive cities in Colombia. So also not that big. So when you compare it to a place like Bogota, Cali, or even Medellin, it's not even big as one of the neighborhoods in Medellin. Like, it's tiny. So you have to understand that the cost of living is going to be important to consider about what life you want to live. I had Corey on, our financial expert, and Corey was talking about this, and I say, I was telling her, and she corrected me, and I said, I appreciate that thought because it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are saying, well, the cost of living in the United States is so high. I spend $5,000, and if I could drop that down to $2,000, I'd have an extra $3,000 a month. Now that thought process tracks, but is it reality? Because when you get $3,000 a month, she said a lot of people aren't used to having money. So when you see an extra $3,000 a month, do you start going for luxury items that you weren't able to afford in the United States? Luxury goods or luxury services? Because there are $5,000 apartments per month in Cartagena and Medellin and many of these places that you guys are looking at. You can spend as if you're in the United States. In Colombia, if you go in, especially in Medellin, I don't know if it's everywhere, but I know it is definitely in Cartagena and Medellin, Coruña, you can go spend there like you are in the most like a expensive market in the United States. You look up and you're like, damn, I'm paying $60, $70 a bag groceries, depending on what you have purchased. You need to know how to shop in these places. You need to understand that, yes, the cost of living can be lower. But if you increase your consumption, you increase the amount of times you go out to eat a week, you increase what you are doing. Well, you need to live in a luxury penthouse with a luxury guard and a pool looking over the city and a hot tub on my balcony. You live in a one bedroom, a studio apartment in New York right now. So cost of living is going to be one relative to you. Also relative to location about certain things. You'd be surprised when people are like, it's a $200. That's plenty of money in Medellin. I can go get a $200 apartment. Maybe you can. Do you want to live there? Don't be sold by somebody else's thoughts or story or 60-second clip that they clipped up for you to help you feel better or to drive views and monetization for them. I want to give you some real life understanding. $200 apartment may not look like what you wanted. It may exist. I was in Cartagena once, and I met a guy that was like, "Oh, you live in Medellin?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I live there too." And then he told me the neighborhood, and I was like, "Why do you live there?" He's like, "'Cause my rent $300," and I'm like, "Oh, you probably pay three times the amount of many people that live there. Yet you wouldn't go live there. Why?" The police don't call no the what do you call that? The embassy. Yes, come get me. They're gonna be like, I tell y'all can't think that Tisha calls it chasing cheap. Listen, don't come looking to splurge and spend a bunch of money, but you also can't chase cheap in the sense of like, know how much things cost. Know that things do have a cost. Just because you made it up in your head or just because ChatGPT paid spit it back out to you doesn't mean it's reality. Things also change really quickly. And from a foreign exchange perspective, many things you always want to get the local currency. But that may be in your favor or not in your favor, but you always want to deal within a local currency. The moment somebody says clocks that you're an American and you're in Colombia and they're like, yeah, so it's 500 USD. It's like, wait, we're in Colombia. What is that in pesos? It's the understanding. That's why I'm like, these conversations are important because me giving you a realtor, me giving you a relocation expert to tell you this and not the reasoning behind it or not the understanding of cost of living and these things, it doesn't do you any good. They're just really nice tools that you have no idea how to use. Because one of the things when you talk about cost of living and how to navigate that and what you actually end up paying, we are so used to in America the price, the bottom line price. You know the bottom line price. You know here's the ticket. Here's what it is. Not understanding that in other places negotiating is a real thing. Somebody says $200, you're like, all right, cool, that sounds good. And you're like, I was only going to take 50, but I just said, figured he's American, so he probably got plenty of money, so now the price is $200. You have the ability to negotiate. So when your cost of living comes down to my housing, there is wiggle room with understanding of what the market dictates also. So many Americans are saying, well, it's a third world country, so the place should be $400. And it's like, this place actually costs money and it's furnished. We put real furniture in. These things were imported outside of Colombia and brought in to make certain that you didn't have to do anything besides bring your clothes. Yet so many people are being positioned with what America has told them about these third world countries, and I put that in big quotes because it's all BS about what things cost. And it's like, no, they don't cost. Just because you live in New York and you pay $3,000-$4,000 a month for a studio apartment doesn't mean that you need to come with that exact same budget. understanding what things cost because the cost of living got too outrageous and there was no ability to negotiate. Why would you want to bring that energy to things that you're looking to leave? Bring it with you in your baggage and all of the stuff that you're trying to get to. So I try to give y'all understanding that the cost of living is going to change for you. It is going to tip in your favor. However, it may not tip in your favor should you not adhere to some of these things. If you do not live a luxury lifestyle now and you decide to move to a place where you now have money to live in a luxury lifestyle, your cost of living comes down, your quality of life, I think, comes down to one, what you can do at the end of the month. So if your bills now are $5,000 and you drop it down to $2,000 and you got $3,000 extra, maybe you've taken that $3,000 and improved your quality of life. But if you spend it all, you still at the end of the month with zero. No matter where in the world you are, you still up with the exact same zero. So understanding that, never mind from a retirement, building wealth, saving money thing, but just your mindset is going to be the dictator of your success and the probability of it in so many areas of this. The intention that you go through in so many different ways in this. That's why it's 12 days of relocation. Steps to here's a lawyer. Here's an immigration visa person. Here is the person that will meet you and give you the relocation tour. Those are functional things. Those are things that you can just pay and do. That's easy. This is not easy. Sitting on these conversations, it's not easy because it's not about me. It's about you. It's a reflective moment. It's a moment to understand that, yes, you may be having some of these concerns about moving abroad. I get it. And safety and cost of living are really important topics to cover. But understanding that your cost of living can always be higher, even though you're in a place where the cost of living holistically is lower because you changed your mindset or your lifestyle. So if you do that, then nothing I say is of any value. So we need to have these conversations. We need to understand that safety and the question about it of living abroad isn't about is it safe? You have been living in a place that is unsafe and has been unsafe for a long time. And it's only gotten unsafer. It's more so, how do I navigate danger? How do I navigate a cost of living? How do I navigate privilege that I've never been able to exercise that I always had? Imagine if somebody told you you had a light on your head and you were like, I don't have no damn light on my head. You're like, bro, you got a light on your head, man. You don't feel it. You don't see it. You're like, bro, I've lived my entire life. I have never been able to shine a light from my head. I think you are absolutely crazy. And then you leave abroad. I mean, leave the United States and you go move abroad. And somebody's like, bro, turn a light on your head. And you're like, I don't got no a light on my head. He was You have a privilege that you are actually owning right now, and it is such a dangerous privilege to have because y'all got to being a full grown adult and not realizing that you actually have a global privilege. So the moment that I'm seeing so many people move abroad and not realizing that they're moving with a privilege that they don't feel privileged, they feel like the world has been on their back all the years, and not realizing that from the world's view, you are as privileged. None of the minority thing matters as much to the world. They see you as an American first. And all of those things come with what people globally think of Americans. Now, I'm not saying that this is like you don't meet nice people. We meet great people abroad. But some people will literally ask you some questions. You'll be like, what do you think my life is in America where you think that I am the person that you should ask that question for? Because you don't realize that light that you have on your head. And it is something that you can only really get to understand turning it on when you get abroad. It's like, okay, it's on. It's on whether you want it to be or not. People will clock the fact that you're an American from a mile away. Look at the way he dresses. Look at his clothes. Never mind your accent. You hear people switch to that American accent. Sound like the dams in the streets. Man, them black brothers from the UK coming over here and hitting us with the LA accents and Idris did the Baltimore drink. Yup. I couldn't do it. But seriously, your accent is going to portray you as an American no matter how much you're trying to dodge away from it once you realize that nobody's waiting for America's diplomacy when you greet them. It's probably like, you're probably arrogant. You probably are coming here to give your American values and your thought processes of what we should do. And you're like, man, I'm escaping that. You don't know that you have that on you, and that there is a privilege that U.S. dollars that made you take that once in a lifetime trip, and you're like, man, I saved my entire life to go on this trip. And now I'm in a scenario where I didn't realize that I need to do this. I need to be out of the United States, but I only make $30,000. And you're like, man, I can actually live over here a lot better life than with $30,000. I just need to make that. Now your life looks a lot different when you look back at it from where you are. Now you're understanding that one of the things that I love when people go abroad and they say, I went to Italy, I went to Europe, and I ate all this pasta and all this food. Or I went to Jamaica and I ate all this food, and the fruit just tasted like fruit in high definition. Like it made me feel good. And I went back home and I felt bloated and gassy. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure. And you don't realize that feeling that you have when you go and experience some of these things comes into the cost of living that is on your body in the United States, and what that actually looks like when you move abroad. It comes down to as something as simple as you got to eat. The cost and quality of food they're giving to you is you wake up every day and literally put something in you that is taking life off of you. So I need y'all to understand that y'all got to peel these layers back because it's heavy. Moving abroad is heavy. It's heavy. It's because it's heavy removing a weight off of you that's been kicking your ass your entire life that maybe you didn't realize was as heavy. Yet you are at a point now, you're a grown ass person. You realizing for the first time in your life, this might not be it. But how do you do that? How do you put yourself into a mindset reset so that you could actually receive the blessings that the world has to offer you in the way that you should be receiving them? Not moving abroad and becoming the person that you're looking and the people that you're looking to leave in the United States. The people that ran into your neighborhood and made it expensive and too expensive for you to leave. Why would you become those people when you go to leave? But you can do these things without the proper thought process, the proper mindset, the proper understanding of where you are. Asking me if it's safe to go where it is that I am, but you aren't realizing and willing to admit that it's not safe to go where you are. Don't thinking that anywhere in the world is going to be this Narnia place. It's going to be perfect wherever I go. No, it's going to be danger anywhere you go. What do you think this is? It's the world. We're all human. But when you get abroad, you realize that some people haven't forgotten that once again, we are all on this earth just to be with each other. In America, you are just on this earth so that you can go to work, so that I can have money. That is how we have been operating so long. So when we get into the safety of, is it safe to leave America? Is it safe to stay in America? The cost of living. Can I escape how much it costs to live in the United States? Maybe. Yes, from face value. No, if you go and increase your cost of living, increase the things that you want to do, because if you are saving anything or putting it into things of value, you could be in the exact same scenario in another place, having a bad time, which often leads many people to go move back home, back to the United States, back where it feels safe. Because being in a survival mode is not something that people want to do. And you'd be surprised where you go and you go unprepared. You go without the tools that you need, and you run into a scenario where you're like, I thought I wanted to leave and now I need to go back because the weight of what I have to do, I'd rather just get back into the matrix. I'd rather just get back into the rat race. At least I know what to do. That's why we're having these conversations, because you don't know what to do. America never gave us a book that says, this is how you leave this bullshit. They never gave that book out. Nobody passed that around. Of all the cousins that work at the government that give people the hookup that the old black folks sent out in the group chat, my cousin said that the government said, he works at the FBI office. You know that one? Yeah. Nobody ever passed that information out. How the hell we get out of this place? Actually, let's figure out a way where it will make sense for us. Now, some people are like, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Stay there, brother. Hold that. Hold it down. Hold it down for me. Hold it down for me. But many people like yourself, many people like me, many people like my peers are starting to realize that maybe the American dream wasn't to build a white house with a picket fence with 2 kids and a 2-car garage with a dog. No, maybe the American dream was to take the resources that America gave you and figure out what your American dream was. Understanding that your quality of living and your cost of living is going to be dictated by who you are and no longer just because you're paying a premium to be in a place that no longer serves you. This is the conversations that we need to continue to have. And these things are designed so that we have them and that you actually have somebody that's like, let me give you something that you might not have thought about. Let me pull your coattail to something that you might not have had on your radar, but you definitely need to put in your tool bag. The tools that I can give you, the foundational things, that's easy. What you have to do and what you only gonna do alone, that's the hard part. That's what makes this different than any other move that you're ever gonna have in your life. The moment that you do it and you do it with intention in the right way, you'd be surprised how easy it is to go visit other places, get into other cultures, learn what that's like for your life. But staying in America, for me, it wasn't it no more. Couldn't do it. And a lot of you guys are putting it into it. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, moving abroad, Black Americans moving abroad. How do I leave America? Is Colombia safe? Is a place? All of that Google search is going to give you foundational things and information. Today's conversation was designed around the stuff that you have to ask yourself, the things that you need to look into in regards to moving abroad. Is this something that I can do in here, When I get this American privilege light turned on that I can't seem to get to work in America, who do I become? Do I care about anybody else? Or is this just about me? It's a double-edged sword because some parts need to be about you. But you have to realize this community, the community, it's something that if you're not a part of it, your success rate, it just drops. It drops. It just drops. And all of these conversations over the 12 days, we're obviously on day 2, tomorrow will be day 3, are designed to give you some real life reflection on where you are in this journey and what you need to think about. Some of the real hard stuff that you need to put into your relocation journey and tool bag so that when you do get the resources and you do get connected to people that can say, okay, all you got to do is, here's the cost, pay this, and we're going to get you corrected right here. That's easy. Success does not come easy, and this process and these 12 days are designed to give you what else you need outside of foundation. So hopefully today you guys heard something. Definitely want to make certain that you guys are tuning in. Let me check the comments, make sure that I didn't miss anybody. But what I will tell you is, once again, during the 12 days of relocation, you guys are in for a treat. You guys can go to moodtravelabroad.com. There you can get your access to the early bird tickets. We will pick 10 people each day leading up to the November 14th date where the early bird conference tickets end. We will pick 10 people each day. Anybody that buys a GA ticket, those 10 people will be automatically upgraded to a VIP ticket. You go on moodtravelabroad.com, you can see exactly what the general admission ticket includes, as well as what the VIP ticket includes. We pretty much give you, honestly, 4 or 5 times your money back in relocation resources. So getting you down to a physical relocation, what that looks like, getting you these ebooks that we've come out with, these guides and tools that you need, these journals that we have for you so that you can start writing some of this stuff down. Your whys. Why are you leaving? We're going to give you guys this so that you can put this into your relocation book bag and run into a scenario where you are on the other side of the TSA living your best life. November 22nd will be here before you know it, so please make sure you guys are getting that to the one-day event. I'm looking forward to jumping back on with my co-host for Roots and Routes at 5:30 Eastern. So if you are watching this, make certain you're at Roots and Routes podcast on YouTube at 5:30 Eastern. We'll be back, myself, Tisha, Michelet, and Akeem. We've got some special things to talk about. Shout out to everybody also. All of my people in Jamaica, my heart and my prayers and love goes out to y'all. Anybody that is there that is in a position to help. I've seen a lot of the videos come out with, people that were at the resorts helping. Shout out to y'all. Definitely, that is good since you were there. But we're going to get into some of these things tonight, what you need to do as far as how to navigate successfully, even if you're not looking to move abroad. Black travel is something that is taken off in ways that it is so dope to see. And we want to continue to provide to our community the real conversations that you need to figure out how to do this the right way, whether it's moving abroad or traveling. You guys make sure you are following, liking, subscribing. And if you have any questions, concerns, jump into the comments. Let me know what it is that you are thinking. Please also, movetravelabroad.com does have some money free resources. So things if you guys say, hey, I ain't got no money, bro. Cool. Go there. There's a bunch of free things that you can learn and take a test. Get to understand where it is that your destination is going to have you ending up. We want to do what we can for our community, and this is honestly what I can. 12 days of relocation are designed for you. I appreciate you guys always tuning in and sharing these things. I'll see you guys at 5:30 Eastern, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 3 of the 12 days of relocation. You guys, as always, I am RJ, and I will see y'all later.